Hi friends, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about how I would learn data science if I could start all over again. This is part 2 of the first video, and if you haven't seen the first video where I actually shared my path, I highly suggest that you go ahead and watch that video because this video is going to build on top of it. One of the piece of feedback that you all gave me in that video is that I should be highlighting the path with some resources for you to learn from. So in this video, we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to share how I would learn data science with the resources that I would use for learning data science. And thanks to Coursera for sponsoring today's video and making it possible for me to share these tips with all of you today. So since this video is sponsored by Coursera, the courses that I will be mentioning today is specifically from Coursera. I understand there are many resources out there that are available to you. In this video, I'm specifically going to focus on Coursera courses because personally, I'm a huge fan of the offering by Coursera. So let's get into the video. So I'm gonna go step by step in terms of how I would learn data science. What is the first thing I would do? What is the second thing I would do? And then in each of those steps, I will have resources linked. Again, like if you haven't watched the previous video, I would highly recommend that you go watch that. If you haven't watched it, I will be covering some of those topics that I shared, the steps I shared at a high level. So the first thing is, let's say you want to get into data science. The first thing that you should be doing is finding your niche. As I mentioned in my previous videos, data science is a huge job family. So I highly recommend you to narrow down your focus and study all the job families that are in data science so you can narrow down your focus and figure out what is it exactly that you want to do in data science. So some of example of data science job families include data engineering, data science, data scientist generalist, machine learning scientist, applied scientist, research scientist, and so many more. So the field is huge and there are several roles within it. So the first thing you should be doing is narrowing down your focus and figuring out where do you want to pursue a career, because that will make your study plan much easier. Once you know what you want to do, you'll be able to define your path much more easily, create a study plan around it, and follow through. So let's say you figured out what you want to do. Let's say you picked data scientist generalist as your niche and you want to continue making a study plan for that. So the first thing I would recommend, let's say data scientist generalist is your target role. One of the piece of advice that a lot of people give is to start learning to code is the first thing you do. I disagree with that advice, and here's why. So I'm gonna say this: coding languages and programming is a method, is a tool to apply data science. It's not the data science in itself. And so for that reason, what I recommend to start with is learning the basics, which includes the fundamentals of statistics and machine learning. So you're getting your foundation right. So think of it like you're building a house. You want to set the foundation first. And what is the foundation of data science or a data scientist role? The foundation and the core work and understanding of a data scientist role is application of advanced statistics and machine learning. So when you start with the foundation, you learn the fundamentals, start with statistics, start with math, start with machine learning. That way you have your foundation set. So whatever you do next, you're building on top of it. So now what I promised that I will be sharing resources. So here are some of the resources that I would personally use for learning statistics, machine learning, and getting the fundamentals right. One of the courses that I'm actually personally taking right now as a refresher is Introduction to Statistics by Stanford. This is an amazing course and it covers the basics. It covers the descriptive statistics, probability, data sampling, data distribution, regression, inference, and more. And as I said, I'm personally taking this course and I'm actually really enjoying it. And I really like the simplified explanation in this course. And I truly believe that when you start learning these basic statistics knowledge and then go into advanced statistics, you're actually getting a better understanding of what data science actually is. The second is I would focus on machine learning. So a lot of the concepts that you would learn in statistics would also apply to machine learning. So once you start doing machine learning, you'll actually realize that a large chunk of machine learning is driven from statistics. And for machine learning, one of my favorite data science instructor is Andrew Ng,
who actually recently launched a new machine learning specialization course on Coursera on June 16th in partnership with Deep Learning AI. And this is actually the upgraded version of the previous machine learning course that was available. It covers various topics in supervised learning as well as unsupervised learning, including multiple linear regression, logistic regression, neural network, such as deep learning, decision trees, unsupervised learning, clustering dimensionality, as well as some of the best practices used in the Silicon Valley. And another bonus of this one is that instead of using the MATLAB, which is what the previous course, ML course, was using, this one is actually has assignments, graded assignments and lectures that teach Python.
So these are a lot of topics, and this course is actually 11 weeks and it's pretty rigorous. So it's possible that you'll start taking this course and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? It is pretty intense, so I would make sure that when you go into it, you go in with your full attention and you're able to grasp those topics. And if you get stuck, like there's a community, and that's another thing that I love about Coursera, because there's like a community of people who have taken those courses, and then there's a discussion forum where you can ask questions. You have access to TAs, so you can ask those questions. You have access to other students who are taking the course, so you can do a lot of like peer learning from each other. So hands down, a great machine learning course. Definitely something to look into. And let's say if these two are not enough and you're still trying to build your foundational skills, your basics of data science, and let's say if you want to get a bigger picture of what data science is and how it's applied in the industry, IBM actually has an awesome course on Coursera as well, which is actually a certificate. So IBM Data Science Professional Certificate, that course goes into what is data science, what is the application, what are different data science methodologies. So this course actually covers the whole data science, the data science job family, and gives you a very nice overview. It gives you an overview of what data science job family is, and then you get a very good understanding of how data science work in the bigger picture. And the last part of the course also taps into a bit of Python. So the 3 courses that I mentioned, these are not hands-on coding courses. These are courses that are more theoretical. And that's the part that I want to emphasize on. Building your theoretical knowledge is very, very important. 90% of these courses are more on theories. And the theory can be dry. I know like coding is a lot of fun and you get to do hands-on work. So this can be a little bit dry. So make sure that you're prepared to be slightly bored. And if you're not getting bored, which is actually perfect, so it's possible that it might be a little bit too much at once. So pace yourself so you're able to grasp the knowledge and retain it. To sign up for any of these courses I mentioned, click the link in the bio, and I'm gonna list all the courses that I mentioned today in the description box. So make sure that you click there and you sign up for those courses.
On that note, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about Coursera.
Coursera is an educational platform with hundreds of courses and certificates from top universities and companies designed for individuals as well as organizations. You get to learn from the comfort of your home from top-tier faculty, which is one of my favorite parts. And in fact, my top favorite data analytics course by Google is actually available through Coursera. Coursera offers both free and paid option, and one of my favorite parts about Coursera is that it offers financial aid. So if somebody cannot afford to take that course, a paid course, you can actually apply for financial aid, which means that education on Coursera is accessible to everybody. And let's say if you're planning to take multiple courses on Coursera, you can also look into Coursera Plus, which gives you access to over 7,000 courses at a monthly flat fee, which is a pretty sweet deal. So talking about retaining the knowledge, let's say you build your theories, you build your fundamentals, you build your theoretical knowledge, you have very good grasp of what machine learning is, what statistics is, you understand the basics, you have a good foundation of theoretical knowledge, and if given a data science problem, you're able to solve it using theory. So now the next part, and this is the fun part, and I know like a lot of us, like I personally enjoy coding. So this is the next part. So let's say once you build your fundamentals, the next part that you'll jump into is learning to code. And this is where you actually apply the knowledge that you have learned and get hands-on experience. I have done a detailed video in terms of the languages that you should be learning as a data scientist. I'm gonna link it here and I'm gonna link it somewhere here. You can go ahead and watch it. But specifically, I want to focus on 3 languages that any data scientist generalist should be very, very familiar with. Number 1 is SQL, second is Python, third is R. So you can pick a combination of SQL, Python, or SQL R. I'm going to share courses on all 3 of these, and it's actually up to you to decide which combination you want to pick. Do you want to pick SQL and Python, or do you want to pick SQL and R? I have my own opinion in terms of what language I would recommend. I personally would go to Python, and I have very legit reason of why I would choose that. I've done a detailed video on that as well, so you can go ahead and watch it. But I'm going to mention courses for all those 3 languages. All right, so as I said, I'm going to mention courses on all 3 languages. So let's start with SQL, which is my favorite. I think a lot of people, there is a misconception that data scientists do not need to know SQL. I actually completely disagree. I think you need to have a very, very good understanding of SQL because you will very likely be using SQL to access your data, do the joins, and to make sure like you have your basic data ready before you actually do any advanced statistics or machine learning on it. So SQL is a must-have. So for learning SQL, I really like the course Learn SQL Basics for Data Science Fundamentals by UC Davis. And what I love about it, again, like there's so many courses on SQL, but what I love about these courses that I'm specifically going to mention today for SQL, Python, R is that these are designed for data science in mind. So these are for people who want to get into data science. These are for people who are learning data science. So this course specifically is targeted toward analyzing data with in mind that this is for you're learning SQL for learning data science. It actually has hands-on project. There are 4 courses in the course, and if you finish all those 4 courses, you can actually earn a certificate in SQL, so which is great. So the next is Python. So Python, again, it's a very popular language. There are so many courses that are focused on software engineering as well as data science, so you have to be mindful which course you pick. One of the courses that I've recommended to a lot of people for learning Python is Python for Everybody Specialization by University of Michigan. This is created for data science in mind, and there are over 1 million people who have actually taken this course. So it's a very, very popular option, and people keep taking it because it does a wonderful job teaching Python. It's again hands-on course, which involves a lot of quizzes and projects and a lot of, it covers Python data structures, how to use Python to access web data, which is super cool because you can do project on any, if you learn how to access web data, you can actually do project on any of your favorite websites. How to use Python for when working with databases. And then the final course is the capstone project, which combines everything that you have learned in the course. Again, this is just one of the course in Python that I'm mentioning here. Obviously, like one course is not going to be enough. I would highly recommend that you possibly supplement this with additional learning material, as well as when you learn something, make sure that you're doing additional projects on top of it to retain that information. So for R programming, again, there are so many options. The good thing about R programming is that most of the courses and learning material that are out there, they're targeting toward data science and data analysis. So you can't go wrong. So there is a specific course on Coursera that teaches R in a very short, it's a very short course. It's 3 courses. It's the course is called Data Analysis with R Specialization. And the reason I specifically love that it's only 3 courses, so it doesn't go too deep. So you can, let's say if you're doing SQL and Python combination, but you still want to get a flavor of R, you can still take this course and kind of like get an idea. Although I do not recommend that you try to learn too much at once because then you'll just be overwhelmed. But let's say if you're still curious and you want to understand how R works and like how to basically do the data analysis using R. This course specifically does a good job because it covers introduction to probability and data using R. So it basically covers the basics. It also talks about inferential statistics, which I think is amazing because I do a lot of experimentation work, and inferential statistics is very, very important. So this is a good way to also see an application using R. The last one is linear regression and modeling. Again, like this is a short course, so this is not going to cover everything. So I recommend that first of all, you build solid foundation on these 3 concepts that I share in these 3 courses that are in this course. And let's say if you finish all these 3 courses and you want to get a certificate for it, that's also an option in Coursera. Let's say if you're taking multiple courses on Coursera and it starts to get expensive, you can do that, you can continue that. So it would be an economically better option to sign up for Coursera Plus, which is like a monthly membership, but you get access to over 7,000 courses with one flat fee, which is a pretty good deal.
It includes many of the courses that I mentioned today. Sign up for Coursera Plus.
Visit the link in my description. All right, so I think we got the meaty stuff out of the way. You know the fundamentals, you know your coding, you're able to, in step one, what you learned, you're able to take your theory, you're able to take your coding knowledge, and you're able to like do hands-on projects and solve data science problems. So that's where the third part comes in. Taking these courses is not gonna be enough. You actually have to do hands-on project to build your portfolio and retain that knowledge. I'm sure like you have heard of that term tutorial trap, which basically you take course after course after course and you think like you have learned, but you haven't, when what you actually go to do your project, you're not able to do it. That's called tutorial trap, because when you take a course, you think that you have gotten it down. When it comes time to actually do it, you're not able to do it because there's so many nuances that you can run into when you are actually doing the project. So that's why I want to emphasize building your portfolio, because there are two benefits to it. One, it's gonna help you retain the knowledge. And two, it's gonna help you build the portfolio with additional projects that you would do that you can highlight on your resume. And it's gonna help you with your job search and hopefully help you land a job. And let's say if you've done the courses that I mentioned previously, there are capstone projects next to each course. So possibly by the end of taking all those courses, you already have a project portfolio, but I still recommend that you do more projects on your own and add to your portfolio beyond the capstone projects. And another thing, talking about capstone projects, the reason I love courses that have capstone projects, because the capstone project, it gives you an idea how a data science project looks like. So you can take inspiration from it and actually pick one of your own projects and frame it into a problem similar to the capstone project that you took. There are two ways to build your project portfolio. One is that you can go to so many existing websites that are already out there where they have given you the data set and they have defined the data science problem. And you can go to those websites, pick any of the data science problems, the data set that is related to it, and then start working on your own and solve that problem. One of the favorite websites that I like to mention here is Kaggle. It has thousands of free data sets that you can use for building your data science portfolio. The second option might be more interesting to you if you're curious and have a creative side. So with this one, you can actually pick your own problem and you can choose to solve it. For example, I love doing content creation. So one of the projects that I would like to do, which I don't know if it's possible, I need to think more about it, is predicting if a YouTube video will go viral. What are the elements of a YouTube video going viral, and then doing some sort of predictive analytics on top of it to figure out if a video given elements XXX will go viral. And if there is an interest for you, let's say cars, video games, tweeting, whatever it is, like you can pick an area that interests you and you can define your problem, and then you can work on it using the skills that you have learned and solve it. And the bonus with that is that when you put it on your resume and you go to an interview, you'll actually have something interesting to talk about, something that you are actually excited about. So something to think about. All right, so we have covered so far picking your niche, learning the fundamentals with statistics, machine learning, and math, learning to code, building portfolio, and then we're at the last part. We're not done yet. So for those of you, I personally, if I'm learning data science, my end goal is that I want to land a job. So I'm sure a lot of you who are learning data science, your end goal is to find a job, right? So I don't want you to stop after building the portfolio. There is more that you need to do in order to meet your end goal. If finding a job is what it is, which I hope it is. I understand if you're just learning data science, if you're curious, that's fine too. You can stop at the previous step. All right, so the reason I wanted to dedicate a section to job hunting is because interview prep, knowing data science, being able to do it is not enough to land a job. And that is because interview in itself is a monster. It requires skills for you to be able to answer questions in a timely fashion. So most of those interviews are like 45 minutes or 1 hour, and you're given multiple problems in that time frame, and you need to be able to solve. And a lot, it will be theoretical, it will be also hands-on coding. So it requires skills and practice to be able to answer those questions in a timely fashion under a pressure setting. So once you're ready to go into the job market, make sure that you're dedicating enough time to prepare for the interviews, because it's an investment. Similar to the previous steps I mentioned, this is very important because it's going to help you land the job. So I've done a few videos on interview framework that I personally use, so you're welcome to watch those videos if you're looking for more detailed guide on interview prep. It's not specific to data science, but it's more general. You can watch some of my previous videos where I have talked about interview prep, and maybe I'll do more videos on that topic and share some resources with you all. So stay tuned for that. So this is an honorary mention of one of the courses that I was debating if I should mention it or not. I'm gonna mention it anyway because I personally love this course. Yes, this is Google's Data Analytics Certificate. I understand this is targeted, the name suggests it's targeted toward more data analytics career ladder, but I think it's super helpful for anybody who is entering into data science as well. And the reason for that is, let's say if you don't have any data background, if you're just entering new to the data science domain, this course actually does a very good job of connecting the dots of why data is important and why there are so many job families in the data world that exist today. It also does a very good job of providing the business context, solving problem, and storytelling, which I believe is super important for a data scientist as well. So although this course is not targeted toward data science, it does give you a very good understanding of the fundamentals and the whole data world and why we're doing what we're doing, basically. So I highly recommend that you check out this course. I love this course so much, I actually have done a dedicated video on the course itself, reviewing the course in detail and giving my thoughts. So the course basically has 8 courses, starts with building foundation, and the course is actually designed in a way that is how a data project would be designed for a data analyst, but it gives you gives you a very solid idea. So it starts with like foundation of data, how to ask the right question, which again is very relevant to data scientists as well, although the set of questions would be different. How to prepare your data for exploration, how to process your data from dirty to clean, data visualization, and storytelling. So if you're new to the data domain, this course is also actually a good start, in addition to the other courses that I mentioned, to kind of get a good understanding of the data domain itself and why it's important to ask good questions and why it's important to have a good storytelling, great communication. And the bonus in this course, which I haven't seen in a lot of other courses, is that it talks about interview prep. There are like mock interviews at the end of the course, so it basically prepares you for more than just the core curriculum. It gives you like toolkit to be successful in the job search phase as well. So which is another reason I love this course. Again, I wanted to mention this course because this is like hands down one of my favorite courses. If somebody is entering in the data domain, regardless of which job family, I think this is a good start to kind of like build your foundation in the data world. Well, I didn't mean for this video to be this long, but I really hope the information that I shared in this video is helpful to you. If you have any questions or suggestions for future video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in comments. And again, like the courses that I mentioned today, they're all linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Bye.